As a self-proclaimed gamer who's gotten through at least the first level of Sonic 3D Blast, when I think of video games, I think of two things. Nice, casual games to enjoy either alone or with friends, and hardcore competitive gaming! Speedrunning through tournament brackets as the one true winner shreds through the competition! Today, I want to talk about that second one, specifically in terms of the genre known as fighting games. Now, there have been fighting games ever since the dawn of time, when God created arcades for prepubescent boys to spend their hard-earned chore money on. However, some have remained popular to this day, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Dora's Death Royale, and all the weeb stuff that popped up like weeds. In fact, they've gotten so popular that we now have giant tournaments held exclusively for fighting games, such as EVO. Some even exist solely for one specific series, like all of those Smash Bros. Melee tournaments that sometimes even have an ultimate setup somewhere in the back. While it's cool and all that some of my favorite games named Melee are so popular now, it got me thinking about what a fighting game actually is. Why is it that we consider some games to be fighting games but not others? What is it that makes a fighting game a fighting game? Honestly, to jump to the point, what grinded my clink-clangs and made my urine boil enough to make this video was that we don't consider beat-em-up games as fighting games. The phrase beat-em-up is literally just another way of saying to fight and win, which is what I do at Melee tournaments anyway! After looking it up on Wikipedia, it seems I'm not the only one who is deeply aggrieved by the treatment of beat-em-up games, as a distinction is made between them on the fighting games page. My only issue is that the distinction doesn't distinguish between them at all. It says that fighting games are, quote, based around close combat between a limited number of characters in a stage in which the boundaries are fixed. The characters fight each other until they defeat their opponents or the time expires. Now, first of all, whoever wrote that first sentence has clearly never used a Hadouken in Street Fighter, or fought a Link player online. Second of all, this seems to encompass pretty much any game that involves fighting, period. As long as some boundaries exists and there are an arbitrarily limited number of characters on the screen fighting, it's a fighting game apparently. But that means beat-em-ups could totally fit in that category. The only attempt at a distinction made is the line that says fighting games are related to but distinct from beat-em-ups, which involve large numbers of enemies against the human player. Now, this seems fair enough, but what is a large number? What about in Smash Ultimate, where there are up to 7 other characters, which could all be computer players? What if I have no friends and I'm a toddler and 7 is the largest number I can count to, Mom? Not to mention Smash Bros. Brawl, which even included the side-scrolling aspect in the Subspace Emissary. Are we going to call Smash Bros. Brawl a beat-em-up game? Or do we call Subspace Emissary a different game genre entirely, despite being in the exact same physics engine as the normal game? And what the heck is a League of Legends? I only play Nintendo games! Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that the term fighting game is way too broad. Some people don't even recognize games like Smash Bros. As fighting games, instead opting to call it a children's party game, in the same way that I opt to call their opinions wrong. We obviously have some ideas to what makes fighting games unique, otherwise we wouldn't have fighting game tournaments like EVO around, to remove all of the good games from the tournament each year. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't exactly know what the difference is myself, and I don't really care to find out, to be frank, because the point of this video is to show that every game is a fighting game within the current definition. Even other genres could fit into it. Maze-based games? Well, PAC-MAN sure does violently eat those ghosts within a defined boundary until he loses. Tile-matching games? Sure does look like a defined boundary with violent drops to the bottom until the board kills you. Music games? Same deal, but Guitar Hero 3's multiplayer. See what I mean? Not to mention the obvious stuff, like every single MMO and RPG in existence, since it doesn't even specify that the fights have to be in real time. Now you may be wondering, what's the point of all this? Just to educate and awaken the masses to an important truth? No, it's much greater than that. It's to open everyone up to a question that has been plaguing my mind since the day I was conceived. When are we finally going to get Kirby Air Ride City Trial tournaments at EVO?
Gosh, that's self-destruct. Okay, Mango is back. Mango's back. He's back. He's back. He's back.
Whoa!
He's back.
Whoa!
He's back. It doesn't matter. He's still alive. He's back. He's kicking him.
You believe in the flow of the game, D1? Because I believe the flow of the game is firmly in Mango's court right
That
now.
momentum, oh my gosh. Wow. dumpster.
We're not getting a 4-stock, are we?
Leffen, are you gonna go out like this? And the crowd cheering for a 4-stock. This could be it. This is it!
Oh! 4-stock! Is this man the truth? Is he the truth, D1?